Hi, I'm Abby Stewart, and these are the best books I've ever read. So basically, I'm doing this whole self-growth kind of challenge, and so I was like, one of the things I mentioned was reading, and so I was like, let me kind of show you guys what my favorite books are, what I enjoy reading, and I have a ton that are sitting in front of, sorry, I'm moving something back there, but my bag was in the way. I have all of these in front of me. There are a total of 15 books that I'll be telling you about today, and I'm really excited. They're kind of all over the place. I do read a lot of dystopian science fiction, but then I also read self-help books, art books, and all of that kind of thing. So if you're interested in this video, I encourage you to keep watching. So I feel like the first book on this list is kind of obvious. My favorite series ever is Harry Potter, and although all of the stuff with J.K. Rowling has been coming out, her books are incredible, and I don't think we can deny that. So like I was saying, I just can't deny how amazing her books absolutely are. And although I like all of them, my absolute favorite is The Order of the Phoenix. So maybe you've read the first Harry Potter book and you couldn't get into it. I think that if you read this one, you would really like it. It's more dark toned, and it's definitely a more mature book in the Harry Potter series. The last one is also really good, but I feel like if you're gonna jump in anywhere, either here if you want a dark tone, or because this is the 5th one, or the 4th one, The Goblet of Fire. This one's extremely good. Definitely, like, if you like the adventure kind of side, it's a great lead up to this book, and a lot of big things happen in this book. If you feel like the first ones are kind of slow, this one's a good one to jump into, or this one. I don't really like the 6th book, skip that, and then the last book is also really good. But first on the list has to be the Harry Potter series, and specifically the 4th and the 5th books. So next up on the list is a book from the Hunger Games series, but kind of separate. It's the new one she just came out with, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I was kind of worried when this book came out because I was like, am I gonna like it as much as the other Hunger Game books? Because a lot of times when authors kind of do this, this kind of book isn't as good. For example, the Divergent series, when the 4 books came out, they weren't my favorite, but this book, oh my gosh, it's 10 times better than any of the Hunger Game books. It's a bit of a big one, just gives you a whole new perspective on the Hunger Games. It takes place about 70 years before those books. I pointed over there because all my books are over there, but this book is absolutely fabulous. I highly recommend you read this. Next, this one's a little different. It's called Monet, and it has all of the, this is like a random kind of assortment of books, but it has like all of the, let me find my favorite. This one. Absolutely beautiful. I love looking at artwork. And this had been my mom's, and she let me have it because she knows how much I love art. But if you want to look at some beautiful paintings, I definitely recommend getting a book like this. Next, we're kind of back on the dystopian kind of side of things. The Fifth Wave is really good. This is the only book I've ever read where the movie is better than the book. Okay, the movie is insane, but I think that you should read the book before you watch the movie to appreciate the movie. Book's incredible. I love the storyline. I love the way it bounces back and forth between certain times, and just throughout the entire thing, it's very good, very well written. And yeah, as you can see on the front, this is when the movie was coming out, so the front is kind of the girl from the movie and all that. But very good book, and I highly recommend that you also watch the movie. Alright, next up on the list, this one is kind of not very well heard of, but the author came and talked to all the kids at our school, and he signed the book for me. But it's Nyxia by Scott Rankgen. This is a very good book. I really loved it. I also love that he came to speak to us, but it's like Ender's Game, but in Ender's Game, I don't have it with me at the moment, but that is my absolute favorite book of all time. Let me go ahead and say that. My absolute favorite book of all time is Ender's Game. I've read that book at least 50 times. Absolute favorite. But if you've read Ender's Game and appreciated it, or even if you haven't read Ender's Game, Nyxia is very, very good. And I like the way it's diverse and that it's something completely new. It's not exactly like Ender's Game, but he signed it and he said, Abigail, the future is yours, and then it's Scott. But this book's really good and I enjoyed it. I'll read the back. Meet Nyxia. With a quick manipulation, the pitch black substance stretches. Defoe's hands dance. After a moment, he holds it up, a black-bladed dagger. He allows us all a good look at the knife, flips his grip, and throws it at a target to his right. It buries itself up to the hilt. Not a bad trick, but he's not done. With another hand motion, he draws the substance back across the room into his palm. He holds the marble up for us to see. Not a bad trick at all. Babel Communications has found a number of ways to use Nyxia. It has secretly become the most valuable resource in the world. Your mission is to harvest as much of this material as possible. Lives will be lost. Blood will be shed. We will not lose. So good. This book is amazing. I loved it. Yeah, it's just really cool. And I like how it has diversity in the book. One thing the author said when he came to speak to our school is that he had been a teacher and one of his students was kind of sad, or just kind of like, why are there no kids like me in the books that I'm reading? And so his goal was to write a book that may appeal more to, it's not just another white kid saving the day in a book, you know. It's very good and very diverse. And one of the things about it is that all the characters are from like different areas of the world, and even though it has a focus on Emmett, who is the main character, there are other characters as well. So I really like this book. Okay, next, You Are a Badass by Jensen Serno. This book is amazing. It makes you realize like all of your potential. I saw it on the shelves at Target for years and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to buy it. It kept calling to me, and then I saw one of my favorite YouTubers, Bacall Mirabella. If you haven't checked out her channel, you definitely should. And she was reading it and she was doing a best self challenge, so similar to what I'm doing right now. And oh my gosh, this book is so great. It makes you realize like just how wonderful you are and all of the amazing things that you can do as a human. And yeah, Jen is amazing. I love her. I want her to be my coach, but I don't have enough money to pay her to be my coach. Fabulous book. If you want to realize your self potential and kick butt in this world, especially along with this challenge, I highly recommend you read this book. Okay, next up, this one's kind of cheesy. Twilight, about the vampires. The movies are so funny. I like watching them to laugh. Acting like I wasn't completely into it in 8th grade, but the book is extremely good. The first book, I don't like any of the other books. The second one's very depressing, and then the other ones just kind of go crazy, but this one's very good and I really enjoyed reading it. I don't know, I've read this about 10 times, probably more than that, and I really like it. I don't know, I've had this book for a very long time, and every time I'm like, what am I gonna read? If it's not Ender's Game, like if I just finished Ender Game and like I read Harry Potter not too long ago, then it's definitely gonna be Twilight. So very good read. I recommend if you haven't read it yet. Next one, this book I actually just read. I got it for my birthday. My mom let me go to Barnes & Noble and pick out a few books. This is called Annihilation and it's by Jeff Vandermeer. This book is extremely good. I love it. It's kind of scary. It's when you read it, you're like, or at least I was fully engrossed, and it was just, it felt so real, and it was kind of like, why does this feel so real? Why does this feel like this could happen? And also I kind of loved how I couldn't relate to the character at all, or any of the characters at all. Like I was reading this and I was like, it felt almost like a documentary, like I was just watching from the outside. I didn't feel relatable because it's like a wife and she's on this completely random kind of scientific study and no one's ever come back or something like that, and there's all these weird people in the group that she's with and they're all female and they're all going into this area called Area X. It's just very random, very weird. And I don't know, like after I read this book, I was kind of like, messed up, but I feel like if a book can make you feel that kind of way and you can't even relate to the characters, then it's a good book, and I highly recommend you read this. Jeff Vandermeer did a great job writing this. It's not a thick book, but it's a lot to take in, and I really liked it. Fiction, amazing. Okay, next. This book, oh my gosh, I think I got this in middle school and it had so many curse words and I was like, oh my god, so I had to put it down. But if you're not afraid of some curse words, Dorothy Must Die. I'm kind of obsessed with The Wizard of Oz. I was the Wicked Witch in 4th grade, but Dorothy Must Die in a musical, sorry, I probably should have said that. I was a Wicked Witch in a musical in 4th grade. But this book is so good. Dorothy's evil. She's, oh my gosh, a horrible, horrible person. And you kind of get to go into this girl who's just like an outcast. And then she's suddenly whisked away and she becomes like this total awesome, kick butt girl. And it's really good. I love this book a lot. So if you're into that kind of vibe, into, you think you might like it. I don't know. It's not like Wizard of Oz at all. It's very over the top Wizard of Oz, and I really liked it. So yes. Okay, the next book I don't have with me, or it's a book series I actually really enjoy, is called Wunla. I'll put the spelling on the screen and probably a picture, but this book is so good. I love it. Series. I love how it's kind of like a picture book, and it's made for a younger audience, but it has like a lot of really cool life lessons in it, and it keeps you on your toes. There's so much happening, and it's kind of like a very futuristic novel, but it doesn't feel futuristic, you know, and you kind of relate. I at least related to the character because she's my age, maybe a little bit younger than I am now, but my age when I was reading it, and it was very good. I really enjoyed watching it. Or not watching, sorry, I really enjoyed reading this series and I highly recommend it. I haven't read it in a very long time because again I can only get it from the library, but it's really good. I like it. Okay, next, the Percy Jackson series. The Titan's Curse is so good. Also the House of Hades. I just didn't bring that one over here, but for the main Percy Jackson series, which was a big hit, absolutely loved it. The Titan's Curse is extremely good. I feel like the movies did Percy Jackson no justice. The first one was pretty cool, and then the second one was just awful. But if you didn't really like Percy Jackson, I recommend that you read this one. Similar to Harry Potter, like it kind of really takes off here. You know, the first books you're kind of getting introduced to the characters and kind of getting a feel for what it's going to be like. But this is very good. A great place to start. It's the 3rd year. The Great Gatsby. I read this year for English, for AP English, junior year, and so this is extremely good. I love The Great Gatsby. It helped that my teacher is absolutely fabulous that I had this year, the best English teacher I've ever had, and I really loved this book and just the way we analyzed it while we read it. It's a great read. It's a fabulous novel and I highly recommend it. If you are a junior and taking AP English, and you are most likely going to read it, or maybe even have read it, this is very good and I really love this book. And then I think this is not the last one on the list. Second to last is Divergent. Ooh, I feel like you either know about this book or you don't. Very exciting. I love books that like have like these little things on the back, and then but the book is actually really good, but it reminds me of like those $1 books you get from like somewhere where they have like the big bold words and then the pictures on the front are like of some random like teenagers and all that kind of stuff. But one choice decides your friends, one choice decides your beliefs or defines your beliefs, one choice determines your loyalties forever, one choice can transform you. Very good. I like Beatrice. I love her. Very good book. I've read this more times than I want to tell you. Not as much as Ender's Game or Harry Potter, but have read this book a lot. I have the entire series. Usually I have the entire series of books like this, but yeah, up there on my favorites. Okay, so the last book I have, wait, I'm lying. There's another one I just saw on my shelf and I absolutely love it. Stephen King, If It Bleeds, It Leads. Oh, if you don't like horror, it's not that horrific. It's very scary. It's more so like psychological and kind of weird. Stephen King writes a variety of books. I feel like The Shining is on like a whole nother level. This is kind of more psychological, and I really enjoy reading that book. I'm not going to say much more. I want you to read it yourself because that's a good book. And then finally, Atomic Habits. Oh my gosh, this is like the best self-help book, and I feel like it's a good one to end on. If you're following along with this series I'm doing, Atomic Habits is a fabulous book. It's all about how every single day when you do something, it makes you 1% better. It moves you up the scale. So let's say you kind of expect, like when you're so let's say this is our graph, you kind of expect the trajectory to just go vroom, straight off, but it's weird. You kind of stay stagnant for a while, and then all of a sudden the growth is just like extremely exponential. And so that book was very good and I highly recommend it. I'm actually rereading it right now because I am doing this self-growth challenge. But yeah, those are all of the books that I absolutely love. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I really want you guys to read one of these books. They're all very good and I really enjoyed all of them, and I think you will too if you give them a chance and read them. Sorry I just turned out that light, but I love you. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and I can't wait to see you next video. Bye.